You should see my screen here now. Just going to move a couple things around here. Okay, well, let's get going here. Thank you for joining today. This is another webcast by Eligeo CRM. We're a company based here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My name is Derek Major. I am a senior CRM consultant here with Eligeo. Today, our topic is how do you define a customer? So we're going to talk about the power of sugar and how it can really help you define your customer segments, as well as how you can use the data within your database to really help you define and improve on relationships within your customer base. So our agenda, this will probably be about a half an hour conference webcast. We'll talk about a little bit about Eligeo here in a moment. We'll talk about target markets, customer profiles, and reporting and analysis that we use within SugarCRM. So about Eligeo, we are a SugarCRM Bronze partner. We have two areas of our business that we do. We also do, over and above SugarCRM, we also do a lot of IT consulting, working with businesses to really understand their business operations and help them deploy technology to suit their needs. On the business consulting side, we do a number of things from project management, business process analysis and definition. We'll work with companies to identify where there are gaps and breaks within their business processes, and we help them kind of guide them through the process of implementing technology to increase efficiencies and identify the pain points in their business, which ultimately increases their bottom line. We also have another number of training services that we have, as well as obviously the SugarCRM CRM planning execution programs that we have to help our customers really take on new things as far as elevating the way they do their businesses with software. SugarCRM is obviously one of the main solutions, something we're talking about today. We also do a number of custom software solutions for customers, whether that's part of SugarCRM, or we'll also do a number of products to help change the way customers do business, whether it's with sugar or not. An example of that, say a casino, we've built loyalty management software, as well as here in Alberta, oil and gas is a big thing. So we've built oil tracking applications as well. Microsoft Office 365 and SharePoint is another specialty that we work with to help business really improve the collaboration tools within their business. We also can work with other partners to integrate some of the functionality of Office 365 with SugarCRM as well. Eligeo's been around for 5 years. We've my background personally, I've been doing CRM implementations for over 10 years, including SugarCRM, as well as a number of other products such as Salesforce and the Microsoft Dynamics Maximizer Act, and a variety of other smaller applications, including custom-built CRM applications. So target markets. Everyone's really heard about what is your target market? What are you emphasizing your marketing objectives against? It's a tough question for a lot of businesses, especially if you don't really know where to start, what information to use, or how to track that ongoing. There's a number of ways to do this just by taking a pen and paper and really identifying who you're going after. But it's not so much on the starting point that we want to talk about today, but we want to talk about even as your existing customers and looking at it from a point of retention, as well as understanding what the value is of the customers that you already have. Whether you're in the business segment or in consumer segments, there's a number of ways that you can do this. What's the target market? Well, what do you know today? So some of the basic stuff out of the box that we use out of sugar is, typically from the business side, well, what's the industry? What are they in oil and gas? Are they in manufacturing? Are they in financial services? What segment of the industries do they belong in? On the personal side, we ask a number of other things, like on the demographic side, as far as age and birth, like with their birthday, how old are they? What are some of their buying habits? When do they typically make purchases? How do they make purchases? It also goes back to location. Where are they located geographically? So maybe someone out on the East Coast might have different purchasing habits versus someone on the West Coast. So it's really about segmenting your customers, using the data that you have in your database to really wrap together a nice picture of what your customers look like so that you can actually target your marketing efforts towards those segments. But it's not just the marketing and the of your on the of selling them something, it's also retention too. So if you have customers that you perceive as possibly being vulnerable to leaving your organization for for a competitor, you want to be able to identify that. And to do that, you want to have the information to track that back to what it means that someone might be vulnerable. Industry analysis, taking a look at specific industries and understanding some of the things that make up an industry. If you deal with a variety of industries in your business, it's really helpful to be able to narrow down exactly what it means to be in oil and gas. So if you're in an oil and gas organization, you want to find out what characteristics there are normally of an oil and gas, say, service company. So from there, you can go down and kind of narrow down what kind of marketing efforts you should be doing for them. Also understanding by looking at your collective database as far as why would people leave? Would they leave because is it customer service? Do they need more attention? Maybe they require too much attention. That could be a negative as well. You can kind of look at, but you kind of tie these characteristics back to the industry, which allows you to better focus your efforts. So if you find that it's really easy to sell to financial services based on the data in your database, you might put more emphasis in sales dollars towards that industry. Measuring loyalty. This is on the retention side. Understanding who are your most loyal customers. The most loyal customers, as we all know, are the ones that are going to continually tell their friends and their family and colleagues and coworkers all about your business. They're the ones that you really want to treat really well. But you also want to understand which ones aren't loyal, and you want to understand why they are not loyal. So it's really diving down into the data to understand what it means to be loyal. Segment your customers. So this is just a matrix that I put together based on some factors that we use in our own database. But obviously, everybody has a different matrix, and it probably means a number of different things for anybody. So when you're segmenting your customers, for instance, 1 to 10 employees, in our case, is high loyalty. And a lot of the reason we say it's high loyalty is because we typically have a much closer relationship with a smaller business than we do, say, with someone with 251 or more employees. So there might be none at that point. If you look at the attitude, so when we talk about attitude, it's the perception on how they feel about you as a partner. Are they excited to work with you? Are they uh, thrilled to be able to have a conversation with you about the products and services that you're offering? And then we also tie that back to revenues. So this is a very simple segmentation matrix that you would use, but it's a nice little way to kind of illustrate on based on the employee size, the relationship as far as the loyal factors as well as the attitude factors, and in this case revenues. So these are all metrics that we use to kind of pull together our customers. Now within Sugar, we can do a number of things. Industry analysis, this is probably the easiest, and out of the box you can do this right away. Comparing your prospects, your leads, and your customers by industry. It's a really great tool to be able to pull reports, whether it's on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, however you want to do it, and taking a look at where all of your prospects have been coming from, if it's coming from a certain segment, but then also comparing it to the conversion rate. If you're finding that your conversion rate on a specific industry has been very high, you're probably going to put more emphasis towards that specific industry. But you need the data to kind of back that up, and this makes it a lot easier to do that. If you're in a sales role, it makes a lot of sense to be able to go back into a database and pull that information out and go back to your superiors and basically indicate that we are finding a lot of success in the electronics industry. We need to really put some more emphasis in this area, maybe attend a trade show, whatnot. But now you have data to kind of back up those business cases that you're working with. Using loyalty and attitude indicators to check for trends across industry data. So as we mentioned in the previous slide, we actually graded our different segments of our customers by loyalty and attitude. And that is a very arbitrary type of number. We have our own calculation that we'll use to kind of understand on a scale what constitutes loyalty. And we'll get into how we kind of define loyalty shortly here, but there's a number of ways that you can do with the loyalty factors. So how to calculate loyalty. So this is going to be different for everybody. Everyone has a different way of doing it, and that's okay because with SugarCRM, you can actually take this information and capture that right back into um, SugarCRM. So you can do it in any way you want, however you'd like. So here are some examples that you can use in your database. So is it how often a customer contacts you that impacts a score? So this has to do with loyalty. There's a lot of partners out there that offer solutions that we work with to implement telephony solutions to track phone calls coming in. So if you want to tie SugarCRM right into your phone system, you can track based on the phone number coming in and tying that back to the record in SugarCRM how often a customer calls. So you might actually create a calculation around the number of times a call comes in. So if it's above average, then what the rest of your database is typically calling you on, you might put that as either a negative or positive. That depends on how your perception is on that particular metric. Is it how much a customer spends at your organization in a given time period? So if a customer is spending a lot of money with you, I know in the IT business that's typically a good indicator that there's high loyalty there. That might be something that also impacts your score. It might be based on the size of the client. So as we indicated in our segment matrix, there is ways of basically measuring things by size of employee, and we find that the smaller the customer, the more loyal they will be to you. And is just simply subjective on a scale. Is it how that salesperson feels about the relationship on there? Might even be a manager. So these are just kind of different ways to kind of calculate loyalty. There's tons of ways that you can do it. We've seen clients will do a number of things such as number of products purchased. So how much of the wallet share do you have of that particular customer? If you're in the cable or internet service industry, you might look at it as a factor of, well, we'll take a telco, for example. A telco is a really good way, especially up here in Canada, where our Teluses and Shaws of the world, they are offering the triple play. So they have telephone, they have internet, they have cellular. So what the phone company might do is they'll take a look at that entire pie and how much do they have of that. If they have all of it from you, they're probably going to treat you better and they're probably going to prioritize your phone call a lot faster. And all that information stored in a database so that they can kind of track back and forth when phone calls are coming in on how to prioritize the service levels. So let's talk a little bit about customer profile. So we talked a little bit about loyalty. We talked a bit about attitude perception and creating a matrix, a segment matrix. So now the customer profile is actually the information you're capturing. You're painting the picture of who your customer is. And there's a number of ways to do this. We're going to take a quick look over how we do it on the business side. So with businesses, there's it's a little trickier than say with an individual. With our consumer profiles, it's a lot easier to do things like, well, what's the age range? How many family members are there? Do they have pets? What is their favorite color? So there's a lot of things you can do on an individual basis. On the company basis, it shifts. So what we've done in this particular example, and this is based off a sugar demo we've done, is we've captured information on ABC Company. We've created a couple different tabs. We've created account demographics and we've created the decision and sales process. As a salesperson, I might want to know what is the process that the customer goes through to make the decisions on purchases, which obviously would affect me as the salesperson. Under the account demographics, we've added some custom fields. We've also utilized some of the out of the box. So we've tracked how many employees we have. We're taking a look at the revenues. We've utilized the ratings, ownership type, ticker symbol, loyalty status, which we've created as 4 different options. So we have moderate on here, but we also have high, low, and none. We also track the industry, and we take a look at the attitude and we track the attitude. So, and the reason we do this is that we can do a number of things. We can pull all the customers by a report by industry. We might pull a report that tells us all the customers that are public based because we might have a product or service that might affect public companies versus private companies. We might have a product that is specific for a number of employees in an organization versus someone that might only have 2 or 3. We have possibly a product that is very high net worth for someone to purchase. So you might want to do that through targeting a specific annual revenue on a customer. As I mentioned, the decision sales process is also understanding how does ABC Company particularly make purchases. In this case, we've identified who our key decision makers are. We've identified the purchase occasion. In this case, it's just a regular purchase. The other options, maybe it's a special occasion. So this can kind of go back to, again, these fields can kind of go down to the opportunity level. It could also stay at the account level, but there's a number of ways that we can kind of put the information together. But then we also talk about the decision process. Well, John is the key person in the sales process. So we identify some of the things that we might expect in a sales process. If we have an ongoing sales process with a customer, we're selling them multiple products on a regular basis, maybe paper, maybe anything that's consumable. This is a great way to kind of track what is that's all the stages that needs to go through. Possibly, maybe there's a board of directors involved with the decisions that need to come down through this particular company. We kind of capture all that information on here. Now, these are all custom fields, and it's just simply an example. There's a number of ways that you can kind of do these kinds of things. Some of the information that we capture on customers, whether it's consumer or business, on the consumer level, well, age, location, gender, those things are kind of the basics you find. Income level, we don't want to sell a Ferrari to someone that's making $20,000 to $30,000 a year, but if they're making over a couple $100,000 a year, we might want to target them on a particular higher end product versus a lower end product. Education level might have an impact on a number of different things too. Where you might want to understand if someone that has an education level, it's a university or a graduate, you might want to be able to target them, understand if they have a family. So if they have family, say kids and whatnot that are a certain age, you might want to target them with different promotions regarding educational services. What kind of occupation they have. This one's a little tricky just because everyone can have a different job title, but my suggestion to our clients is always to generalize the occupations, say executive, manager, frontline service. You just want to be able to capture who they might be. Ethnic background, birthdays. Birthdays are a great one. I talked about this in our last webinar. Always say happy birthday to your clients. Just program it into your database. Do it as a workflow. Let it do it automatically. Just say happy birthday. It makes their day and it makes you look like a hero. On the business side, location, industry, who makes the decision? So who do you need to talk to make sure that the deal gets pushed through? And who influences that decision too? So you want to make sure you're in touch with the influencers, not just the decision makers too. So you want to have everyone collectively involved. Who's going to use the product or service that you're going to sell them? Is it going to be frontline employees? Is it for salespeople? Is it for executives? You need to kind of target that and capture that information. What are the benefits sought? Flexibility, number of employees, revenues. These are just some examples. There's tons of things you can capture. But the emphasis here is that you can capture this information from your SugarCRM, and we can develop a number of reports to really create a really good picture of who our customers are. All right, reporting and analysis. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what do we do with this data that we have. So if we're capturing all this information on our prospects and our customers and our leads, how can we use this to our benefit? And there's a number of ways that we can do this. Here I've created an example account demographic report. So we just pulled 3 companies that we have on here. And this is the data that we've inputted. It's very similar to the screenshot you saw a couple slides ago. And really all this is doing is just we're pulling on a demographic report, show us what our customers look like. So you'll see on this particular one, attitude, our first 2 are very enthusiastic, whereas the last one's positive. So some of the reports you might want to utilize this for is maybe you're going back to your salespeople and asking, well, why is it that ABC company is only positive and then we have these other guys that are really enthusiastic? What are the differences there? And by understanding those differences allows you to take them to the next level and enhance that relationship you have with your customer. On the loyalty status, which is the 3rd column from the left, so we have again loyalty, moderate, absolute, and again moderate. So it's understanding what does that mean. So not all that information can go into Sugar. These are definitions you would need to create outside of Sugar, but it would be something that you would use to really understand how to enhance the relationships you have with your clients. And I've listed a few examples here using this for mailing lists. So if you want to target all of your moderate loyalty status customers with a specific promotion, you could do that. If you want to go after all the ones that are really enthusiastic or maybe just simply enthusiastic attitudes, knowing that they're more than likely to purchase a lot of things that you recommend. This is a great way to kind of segment and target those particular customers with promotions and offers. Events management. Hey, let's throw a big party for all of our really happy customers. Or maybe let's throw a big party for our customers that aren't really happy and see how we can engage them further. Average client values. What is the client worth to you? Use reporting to understand what clients are worth to you. Are there clients out there costing you money? Are there clients out there that are making you a lot of money, and you need to identify that you really need to create a relationship with them and further enhance that relationship? And action items, I kind of alluded to that already. It's really trying to increase the attitude, increase the loyalty of your customers. Uh, every client I've ever spoken to has always wanted to segment their customers especially on the loyalty factor. Attitude, you don't hear too much, but that's something we're starting to talk a lot about now. But on a loyalty factor, it allows you want everybody to be loyal. That's really the goal here. And people that aren't loyal, well, you need to understand why. And sometimes it just might be a case of it's not a good fit for you as a customer, but then that's okay. But that allows you to identify that and allows you to put your efforts further towards the most loyal customers that you have. I love pie charts, so we do pie charts all the time. So measuring loyalty, you take a look at your pie charts and run reports on a weekly, monthly basis. Understand who the moderate ones are, who are the strong ones, and who are the absolute ones. If the moderate, in this example here, the moderate ones are almost overtaking strong and absolute. So maybe an objective for the next quarter might be to decrease the moderate number and increase the strong. Get them to the next level before you get them to absolute. Absolute is, you know what, they're not going anywhere. Strong is, you know, it's pretty strong, but there's still a likelihood they're going to go. Moderate is, well, you know, they probably could care less. But the goal is to kind of move them up a ladder, and this allows you to create an action plan to kind of bump them up that ladder as well. And this is, again, this is stuff. This report is just a screenshot I pulled out of SugarCRM, and I added some context within PowerPoint. But otherwise, it's generated out of SugarCRM, where you can actually automate the reports to be basically scheduled to be emailed to you, whether it's on a weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly basis, whatever time frame you'd like. So wrapping up a little bit here, just some of my top 10 profile tips. Collect as much data as possible, but be careful. You don't want to collect irrelevant data. You might not care about what their dog's name is, so you might not want to go to that detail. But use your data to effectively target the different segments of your database. So we talked about the marketing. The marketing angle, it's really important if you can really narrow in on these different segments and promote tools and information to these particular segments, you're going to be a lot more effective in your marketing. Measure your loyalty and build retention strategies around segments. Like I said, it can be arbitrary, it can be based on numbers, data, whatever you'd like. It's really understanding what makes a customer loyal, but kind of come up with a concept of what that number might be. Identify which clients are most vulnerable to leave. So you're always keeping churn is not a bad thing. I always tell people churn is not a bad thing, but you also want to do your best to make sure you can retain your best customers too, especially ones that spend the most money and the ones that are have a really great attitude as well. Identify which clients you may want to leave. So if you're using your data properly, you can identify which ones are a real pain in the butt, and this gives you an opportunity to either refocus that relationship with the client, or in some cases, that part ways too. I've seen a lot of people do that. I think the concept they always say is we're going to fire customers, and I've heard that people say that before. But this allows you to really understand where you're spending most of your time, what's costing you the most money, and which ones are also reaping you the most rewards. And build out your customer metrics to help you focus on client needs. The more you know about your customer, the more that you can really help them become better at what they do. Event management becomes easier. Utilize the data. That's as simple as that. If you have really loyal customers, you really want to treat them really good. We've done in the past. Again, we're up here in Canada, so hockey is a big thing. We had an office a few years ago where we actually had a movie theater, and we brought all of our high value loyal clients in for a hockey night at Eligeo party. And it was a hit. We brought in pizza, and we had a really good time. But again, it's really reinforcing and identifying who those loyal customers are. Are customers costing you money or making you money? Direct your efforts where needed. You're gonna want to spend a lot more time with your loyal and very enthusiastic attitude customers versus anyone that's really taking up too much of your time. And my last point, too much data can be confusing. I would really, if you're really focusing on key metrics to kind of measure your client's loyalty and attitude, I would never do more than 4 to 5. In fact, that might even be too much. You might only want to get it down to a couple. The loyalty and attitude ones are really great to really measuring the effectiveness of your customers within your company. So that ends the presentation on customer profile. I'll leave it up to questions and answers here, so feel free to type in the chat box if you have any questions that you'd like to ask. Otherwise, we also will be archiving the video here. We're recording it today. It'll be on eligeo.com. Of course, my contact information is there too. You can email me, give me a phone call. I'd be more than willing to help out. Eligeo, this is what we do. We work with customers to really understand their needs and help them implement SugarCRM in the most effective way to really help them produce results for their businesses. And obviously, the intangibles, which is obviously enhancing the relationships they have with the people around them, partners and customers. So if we have any questions, I don't see any on there. So again, feel free to shoot me an email, and then I'd be more than willing to shoot you back a note if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you for joining today, and stay tuned to eligeo.com. If you'd like to also be part of the webcast mailing list, you can also subscribe to on our website as well. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.